Hey everybody, JC here. Happy Saturday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's about 1:45 here in Porter, Texas. About to go do some FSD driving. So let's go. Push the little blue button. Put on the rear camera. Start backing out. Avoid my wife's Mercedes. Very well. Making the turn, straighten out. Avoid the kids on the bikes next to the neighbors. Give them a wave. Beautiful, beautiful day. It's about 70 degrees here. Partly cloudy, but definitely not overcast. Nice, brilliant sun. Put on the right blinker. No oncoming vehicles, so we go. Great job. Now we're into my neighborhood, out of the little cul-de-sac area. Yeah, we got great weather today. I don't know how long it's going to last. We're supposed to have a cold front coming through. Supposedly cold enough that by early next week, by Tuesday, we may even have some snow and sleet and ice. It definitely does not feel that way today. Yeah, just a beautiful, gorgeous day. All right, heading up to the traffic circle roundabout. Going in, no other vehicles. Take a right out of the traffic circle. Gonna have a three-way stop coming up here in front of the middle school for our neighborhood. There we go. No other vehicles. No problem. All right, we got an oncoming Jeep. They get back over to their side of the road. All good to go. Make a right turn here, but we do not have a stop sign. No other vehicles at the four-way stop. And we are now on little country road here leading out of my neighborhood. Oncoming vehicle handles that well. They got another Tesla there, Model Y. Just drove on by us, same color as mine. Looked great. All right, got a three-way stop up here. Got some vehicles coming from our right side. They pass on through, come to a stop. Great job. All right, we're coming up to the railroad intersection at Knox Drive and 494. We've got a two-way stop here before we get to the intersection. Come to a stop, let them on through. We have an oncoming truck. We take our turn. We were here before the Honda. Great job. Get up to the railroad intersection. We go over the railroad tracks and we get completely over. Good job that time. All right, we get in queue here. Get up to the stop sign. We're going to take a left here. Once we get up to the stop sign and we assess oncoming traffic, there is none, so we go. Excellent job. And we're going to be on 494 for about a half mile. We're going to take this up to North Park Drive and take a right on North Park Drive. A little bit of congestion right now. That's pretty normal for a Saturday afternoon around North Park. Got some road construction coming up as well with narrow lanes, shifting lanes. Look like there's some work crews possibly out there. Going a little slower now. Yeah, we do. We have a work crew. We're going to leave a little gap here for the Ford F-150 to get into traffic. Give him a nod. He gave us a wave, or I should say he gave Tesla FSD a wave and probably doesn't realize it, but I returned the nod to him on behalf of Tesla FSD. It's interesting. The Tesla is preconditioning the battery for charging. So let me let the cat out of the bag where we're headed today. We are going to the Tesla delivery center in Cypress, Texas. I always like to go visit there probably about once a month on a weekend. Excuse me. Just take a look around, see what's going on. See what inventory they have out there. And you just never know. You never know what they might have there in the showroom at the largest Tesla delivery center in the state of Texas. Everybody that's in the Tesla community knows this. Tesla doesn't do any big grand announcements of what they're generally going to have at a delivery center. It just kind of happens. In fact, even the employees don't know before it happens. A lot of cases. So you'll quickly find out about it on X if there's something new or something interesting at the showroom. Okay, we're getting over to the right. We are taking a right, so that's a good, very good move. And I'm going to tell you, these are makeshift lanes. So the fact that it got over here to the right, this lane right here, I believe not that long ago was just the side of the road and not actually a lane. But obviously, as you can see, it's a lane right now with the road construction. So we'll just see how we handle turning right on North Park here with the level of road construction going on. But yeah, we're going to the Tesla delivery center. And the reason I mention that is right now my battery is preconditioning for fast charging. And I'm like, well, I didn't navigate us to a supercharger, but I wonder if it's automatically doing that because there is a supercharger at the Tesla delivery center. I've got my sunglasses on right now. I just wanted to see how well the in-cabin camera's doing with sunglasses. And it went for a while there. It went for a good, I don't know how far we're into this, probably about 10 or 11 minutes, but that was pretty good. If it gets too bad, I'm just going to take the sunglasses off. I mean, it's a beautiful sunny day, but I can get by without the sunglasses if necessary. But yeah, I just got a little nag there. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Probably because I was looking, let me look at something here. I mean, it is taking me to the, let me make sure it's taking me to edit trip and take that out. Nope. Tesla, not the supercharger, delivery. Sorry, folks. I already screwed that up. All right, let me get through here. So now it's got no destination. I screwed that up. Delivery, Cypress. Let's see if it'll pull this up. Well, apologies, folks. I messed up with the navigation. I had it go to the supercharger close by and not to the delivery center. Let's see if I can do this. All right, let's go through this traffic light here. All right. There we go. Let's see if I can get that in there. All right. User error, human error. Sorry, folks. I heard that preconditioning going on. Let me, yeah, there we go. Now we're going to make a right turn. Is it here? Are we going to make a right? Here we go. So no harm, no foul. We rode along 494 for a couple of more miles than we needed to. We should be up on 59 right now. Instead of going there North Park, we went Kingwood Drive instead of North Park Drive. My apologies, folks. So the way I figured out, I heard the battery preconditioning. I was like, why is it preconditioning? We're just going to the Tesla delivery center. Well, I must have, when I was doing navigation for Tesla delivery center, I must have hit it for a Tesla supercharger that's over in that same area. And so now I have it. Let's just double check. Let's double check. Yep. We're good to go. All right. Apologies about that. So now we've definitely got the correct destination in there. I'll tell you what, that one I'm kind of lucky that it was a supercharger I was navigating to instead of something else, because what's let me know that I had made a mistake is I could hear the preconditioning going on. All right, I hear some sirens. I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, there it is. It's to our front left. And it looks like it's an ambulance that's on the feeder, but they're ahead of us, so I'm not sure we'll have to deal with that. We'll just see. So yeah, we're headed to the Tesla delivery center in Cypress, Texas. Again, about once a month, I just always like to go. Even if I don't see anything new. You know how they always say there's never a bad day fishing? Well, I would say the same thing about going to a Tesla delivery center. Even if there's nothing new, it's always cool to see a bunch of new Teslas and see people looking at Teslas. And really, one of the best parts is seeing people get their very first Teslas. That's awesome. I love seeing that. Folks are just excited, a little scared, a little anxiety, not knowing what they're about to get into, but a lot of excitement too. And then you see folks there getting their 8th or 9th Tesla. And it's just there. But the funny thing is, even folks that are there to get, they're into their multiple Tesla, maybe their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th Tesla, they're always excited as well. Just something about Tesla, just so different. All right, we are on 59 Eastex Freeway going southbound towards Beltway 8. Got some good speed going on right now. We're going about 80 and a 65. Now 79. We will be on 59 Eastex Freeway for about 6.5 miles. And then, like I said, we'll take the Beltway 8, Sam Houston Tollway, and we will go west on the Beltway towards Cypress. Doing really well. Maintaining speed. We are in the left passing lane, the fast lane. But as you can see, we are staying up with traffic. And there's nobody directly behind us. And we do have vehicles in the lane directly to the right of us that are going. I'll take these glasses off because it's really not that harsh right now. Go. Yep. So I got my second nag there with the sunglasses on. Granted, we've been at this almost 20 minutes, so that's not bad. One every 10 minutes with the sunglasses. But probably part of it too is that it's the combination of the hat and the sunglasses. But it's really more the sunglasses. And we'll probably see that during this drive. But that's okay. It's just, like I said, in previous videos, that in-cabin camera is just turned up to 11 right now, and it needs to see your eyeballs. Just got to see your eyeballs. I get it. And this will be completely irrelevant before the end of the year. Completely irrelevant. So in the meantime, I'm absolutely fine with it. All right, continuing to move along here on 59 Eastex Freeway going southbound. We got about 3.5 more miles till we get to the Beltway. And then we'll be on the Beltway for a little while. So may take the opportunity to address some YouTube questions. We'll just see how traffic is flowing on the Beltway. Got a British Airways flight going directly over the freeway. As anybody who watches my videos knows, the airport is right over there. I've taken you there a couple of times. All right, got about 2.5 miles. We are still nestled in the left fast lane, going 79 and a 65. All right, we put on our right blinker, we move over one lane. So that's interesting. If we're making our move, we started making our move about 2.25 miles out from the on-ramp for the Beltway. So a little bit sooner than I've seen it do for most exits. Interesting. We'll just see how this does. Or we were just getting over. No, we were just getting over for faster traffic. All right. So scratch everything I said about making its move. It was just getting over for faster traffic behind us, which is great. I like that better because I know we're going to make it. All right. We got about 1.25 miles now to get all the way over to the right. So we got over to the right to let that faster vehicle get beyond us. But now we got 1 mile to make it all the way over to the right. So you got to start making a move if we're going to make it and not have to reroute. 3/4 mile left. It wants to get around this semi first. That's interesting. We've got 1/2 mile to make it across 6 lanes of traffic. All right, we got our blinker on. We're going. We're going. We're going. Made it 4. Now you made it 5. Now you got to make it 1 more. You got to make 6 lanes. 6 lanes. You got to make 1 more. You're going to have to make 1 more. I don't know why you're not getting over. There you go. 6 lanes of traffic in less than 1/2 mile. And it made it with about... Now, I will say this. As impressive as that was, it made it over 6 lanes of traffic in 1/4 mile. On 59 Eastex Freeway at the Beltway 8 intersection. Everybody in Houston knows how busy that is, and you saw the traffic there. So a couple of observations. Number 1, really impressive. Number 2, yeah, I think why it waited for 1/4 mile to go instead of 1/2 mile is it really wanted to get around that semi. Like, it wanted to get around that semi prior to start making its move. And that worked out great. It knew what it was doing right there. All right, we're moving over to the left on the Beltway. We are on Beltway 8 now, going west. We're moving over to the left faster lane. We're going 81 in a 65, which is perfectly fine on the Beltway. And in fact, if you're going to be in the left lane on Beltway 8, you better be going more than 75, that's for sure. Probably more than 80. But going back to the move on 59 Eastex Freeway to get over 6 lanes of traffic in 1/4 mile, very impressive. Waited to pass the semi first. It knew it could get around that semi, and it wanted to get past that semi before making its move. And obviously, that worked out really well. The only little snafu, and I won't even say it's a snafu because it made it, but once we got over to the next to last lane, it seemed to want to wait 200 or 300 feet before getting over to the rightmost lane, which we needed to be on. As you can see, those 2 lanes fork, and one lane goes Beltway 8 eastbound, the other goes Beltway 8 westbound. And if we didn't make it all the way over, we would have to have gone on Beltway 8 eastbound and reroute, and that would add about 5 miles to the trip. Not a huge big... All right, we got some slowdowns coming up here. Probably got some road construction. But yeah, it just waited till the very last moment. And I looked over my right shoulder, and there weren't any vehicles that I could see in the rightmost lane that were inhibiting us from moving over. So I don't know why it waited. The only thing I can think of, the only thing, is that by the time we made it to the next to last lane, the next to last in the right lane, getting over to the Beltway, is that it turns into a solid white line. And so unless it absolutely has to, it will generally not go over a solid white line, and will wait till there's a broken white line, like you see here, right? So we have I don't even know if that's the correct term, but I'll just call them broken white lines, which means you can cross back and forth at your pleasure, right? Solid white lines, you're technically not supposed to cross over those. You know, and I have to check the traffic rules on that, because obviously you're not as inhibited of crossing those as much as you are solid yellow, obviously. Solid yellows you're not supposed to cross unless it's an emergency. Solid white lines, obviously there's a reason they're solid, and you're generally not supposed to cross those either. But there's also a reason they're white instead of yellow, because, you know, you have to cross. So it waited until that solid white line ended and we got the broken white lines before it made its move over. So that's interesting. So a couple of things I'm going to need to check. Number one, I need to brush up on exactly what the road rules are, what the traffic and road rules are around solid white lines. And then number two, I probably need to figure out why they even have a solid white line there between those two lanes going up on the ramp towards the Beltway, because ultimately that white line ends and it becomes a broken white line. So I don't know why it would be solid at that point. So I'm going to need to brush up on both of those, both on my knowledge of, all right, what does a solid white line even mean? I mean, my general understanding is you should not cross a solid white line. And it didn't. So maybe it was doing exactly what it was supposed to do in that situation, is it did not make it over there in time to cross before that solid white line came up. But then once that solid white line ended, it made its move. And so we were all good to go. You know, I've just spoken about 7 or 8 minutes on something that's probably boring the bejesus out of most. All right, we got some road construction, got some cones here, so we got our right blinker on to move over. Great job. So we are going to go down to 2 lanes here on Beltway 8 West, going westbound. We're going to be on the Beltway for about 15 miles till we get to Highway 290. All right, now we're moving along a little better, going about 43. Let's just see, since we've got some road construction right here, right through this area, I just kind of want to keep my head on a swivel a bit. I know I said that I was going to try to get to some YouTube questions, and I definitely want to do that, but I also just want to keep my head on a swivel a little bit right through here, because I think this road construction ends pretty soon. Got some good speed through here. We're going about 64, 65. All right. Now we're moving good now. We're moving good. We're not past the road construction. As you can see, with the concrete divider, the concrete barricade, they are expanding the Beltway out here. And so the lanes are much narrower where we're going through right now. We've only got 2 lanes. You got a concrete barrier to the left. You got vehicles inches away from you to the right. So let's just get past this first. All right, I think we're getting out of, there we go. Concrete barrier gone. Opens back up to 4 or 5 lanes. Probably start moving our way over to the left here in a second. Probably just going to gauge things first. There we go, got the left blinker on. We get over into the left blinker. We pass the I-45 Beltway 8 intersection. And I think we're good to go now. I think we're past most of the road construction. And we've got about 12 miles till we get to 290. So yeah, so I jotted down some stuff. Let me move these glasses back over. I went ahead and jotted some stuff down here on just to jog my memory on some index cards. I don't like using my iPhone. I've got it on my iPhone as well, but as I've mentioned to y'all, when I'm doing Tesla FSD, and especially when I'm doing these videos, I don't necessarily want to be staring at my iPhone. Then again, are index cards any better? But at least index cards are something that are a little easier to glance at. You glance at it pretty quickly and go right back to the road. Traffic's going pretty well here. So, yeah, so one of the interesting questions that's come up in some of the YouTube questions, and obviously mainly from people that are brand new to Tesla, and in fact do not own Teslas yet. So they may live in my general vicinity of Southeast Texas. They've heard about these Teslas. They've heard about these electric vehicles. And, you know, they're kind of intrigued by them. They're not ready to pull the trigger yet, but they're kind of intrigued. And I've just told a lot of them, like, look, you know, yeah, granted, I get it. We're in tough economic times. There's not a lot of disposable income out there. But I've told some of them, like, hey, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just go find yourself a little cheap 2018 Model 3 rear-wheel drive, you know, and just have it as a second or third vehicle. Just have it as a weekend get-around car. You know, just to dip your toe in. Because you can find some 5 and 6 year old Tesla Model 3s out there. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of them have been through quite a few cycles. You know, they may have some miles on them. But I've heard of folks on X finding some of these opportunities out there for 2018, 2019, 2020 Model 3s for $10,000 to $15,000. Right? And some of them even come with a warranty period on the battery pack. You know, now, not quite the warranty that somebody that's getting a brand new Tesla directly from Tesla, obviously they're going to get a great warranty. So just so you know, when you buy a brand new Tesla from Tesla, you're getting an 8-year 120,000 mile warranty on the battery pack. And let me just tell you, that 120,000 miles, I mean, I'm sure they put, there's always a reason they put it on there, but they could up that thing to 200,000 miles and it won't make a difference to their warranty expense. Let me just let the cat out of the bag there. Those batteries are so good that they're making right now that it's really more about the years than it is the miles on it, so to speak. Because there are people that are just racking up some miles on these Teslas. But anyway, nonetheless, I diverge. I've told some of them, you know, if you've got anxiety around getting your first electric vehicle and you just don't want to make it your daily driver yet, you don't want to go all in, well, just go get one of these El Cheapos. Kind of like you would, like when you go into 7-Eleven or Circle K and you need a pair of sunglasses and you don't want to go buy any of those, what are those, not Berkeley's, but, you know, those real high-end sunglasses. So you get the $15 to $20 El Cheapos at Circle K, and guess what? They'll keep the sun out of your eyes, right? And you know what the difference is? You won't lose those. You'll lose those really expensive $300, $400, $500 ones. They'll just go right off your face into the ocean when you're on that cruiser. But you buy yourself a pair of $15 El Cheapos at the Circle K in Lampasas, Texas. Those things aren't going anywhere. You will never, ever lose those things. But you put a $500 pair on your face, they're gone. They fall out off your face into the ocean. Gone. Sayonara. You put a $15 pair on your face, they're like glued to your noggin. You will never lose those. Anywho, so in that same kind of crowd, I'm starting to get some questions just around EV batteries in general. So that kind of prompted me. You know, I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm not a battery engineer, which is probably one and the same. Probably people that work on batteries are chemical engineers. I am not a math major or a chemist, so I'm not going to be able to sit up here and wax eloquently about battery design and what goes into a battery and what is an EV battery made out of and how do they go. How do they make your battery go vroom vroom and go? Well, they actually don't go vroom vroom. So that's the first thing to tell you is EV batteries and motors don't go vroom vroom. They go. But how do they make the car go? And how do they charge? And this or that or X, Y, Z and A, B, C. And you know, I know enough to be dangerous, but I do know enough to talk to the folks that are in this group that are just interested. They're intrigued and they've never owned an EV. And they're like me. They're not chemical engineers. They're not chemists. They're not math majors. They're not, you know, building batteries in, you know, cattle or Samsung or wherever, Lathrop, California, Lathrop for Tesla. But they're real interested. They want some of the mystery taken away from them. So I decided that when I get to the point where I need to start tackling some YouTube questions again, I wanted to put this one at the forefront. I wanted EV batteries, charging of EV batteries, and lastly, kind of the cost of EV batteries. I kind of wanted to combine all of that and almost have like a JC battery day. So Tesla, you know, they had a battery day back in the day to kind of take their investors and stakeholders through where they were at that time with their battery manufacturing and where they plan to evolve to, right? And so they're still in that evolution, and we'll talk about that. But I thought, you know what? Why can't JC have a battery day? I can have a battery day. Hell, these are my GoPros. This is my YouTube channel. Yeah, are there about 6,000 to 7,000 people on X rolling their eyes at the concept of me ever doing a battery day as a Marine jarhead turned accountant? You know, I was a Marine, active duty Marine for 6 years, inactive duty for another couple of years, so 8 total years as a Marine, 30 plus years as an accountant, CPA in corporate America. What the hell do you know about EV batteries? Well, here's what I know. I drive an EV. I drive a Tesla. I've driven one for almost 2 years now. And number 2, I've got a brain and I can do research. I've got grok. So here's what I'll do before I even tackle the, well, first of all, let's put a pin in that and let's discuss this. We've made it all the way over to the Beltway 8290 interchange. So we are all the way over to the right. We did a much better job getting all the way over to the right for 290 off the Beltway than we did back there. Although I won't say that. We did a pretty damn good bang up job getting all the way over for the Beltway. But we are in the rightmost lane. You can see the solid white lines here as well, which basically means you're not supposed to cross it. Then again, the guy right behind me just crossed it. So it can't be a hard and fast rule. And we are getting off on 290 west. This is the road that you take, and there's another one. That Kia just crossed that white line. And a third one, the truck, the straight truck that you're about to see. They just crossed a white line. Everybody's crossing that solid white line. I need to find out what the hell that solid white line is supposed to mean. Obviously, it can't be thou shalt not cross it, because everybody and their mother and their brother and their uncle and their aunt behind me just crossed the damn thing. So I need to brush up on what those rules actually are. All right, we're coming on the on-ramp towards 290. We're going to be on 290 west for about 3.5 miles. Yep. All right, we got a left blinker on. Start moving over into 290. All right, move over another one. Got a car directly to our right, but we handle our left, I should say, but we handle that very well. Got about 3 miles till we get to 1960, or Highway 6, as I believe it's called up here. And this, yeah, I think 1960 turns into Highway 6 up here at 290 on the northwest side of town. If you were watching my video from yesterday, I talked about FM 1960. Well, this is where FM 1960 turns into Highway 6 on the northwest side of town. On my side of town, on the northeast side of town, turns into Highway 90. If you go about 10 miles, maybe about 20 miles to the east of me. There's some more Cliff Clavin cheers, useless knowledge for you. All right, we got about 2 more miles till we need to get. Now, one thing that's interesting is we would normally be getting past this truck, but we abided by that HOV lane. We did not go into that HOV lane. I guarantee doggone to you, we would have gotten that HOV lane if it weren't an HOV lane to get around that slowpoke truck in front of us. So that's great. It abided by those HOV rules there, because I have it set to not go into HOV lanes. Just so y'all know, unfortunately, in the state of Texas, EVs do not get any special dispensation for HOV lanes. None. So our HOV lanes in the state of Texas, I should take that back. In the city of Houston, I can't speak to Dallas or Austin or San Antonio or other cities in Texas. But here in Houston, the only dispensation you get for HOV is having 2 or more people in your vehicle, and I do not have 2 or more vehicle, so I leave my HOV button untoggled. I wish our HOV lanes had special dispensation for EVs, but we do not. At least to my knowledge. Somebody that lives in the city of Houston that watches this video on X or on YouTube, get in my comments and let me know if I'm wrong. I'd love to be proven incorrect on that. All right, we're getting off on 1960. But let me, before we do that, I know I put a pin in my battery day. I have only just begun. We have only just begun. I guarantee you, I've got stuff planned for JC Battery Day. The only thing that'll be different about my battery day is it may stretch over several days. It may take 2 or 3 weeks at the rate that I talk and how I love to talk. So we're going to get through all of it. I've got it down here. I've got cue cards. I've index cards. I'm like I need a teleprompter. That's what I need. Anybody out there with some really special AI talent, is there a way for me to create a teleprompter on my front windshield that nobody but me can see? Is there a way to do that? Kind of like what the presidents have. They have that teleprompter that nobody else can see. Create that for me. I would pay a pretty penny for that. If you could create a teleprompter that I can see in big bold right here on my front windshield that nobody can see, even on my GoPro video, that's something only I can see, that as the GoPro's videoing it, nobody else can see, or that they could see but I could take out in editing, let me know. I'll pay a pretty penny for that. I would love to have that. All right, we're coming up here to the feeder along the other side of 290. We got a gap here we're going to get over. All right. We're going to need to get all the way over to the right. Well, now we're going to get all the way back over to the left a bit. But we need to turn in. I don't know if we're going to be able to turn in right here. All right. So it wants to turn in right here, but it is not going to be able to do that. And it figures that out. Let's see what it does to course correct here. All right. Let's see if it does. I don't know if it's going to course correct. Let's give it a second. It may just give up. So you can see that's a driveway right there, but that driveway is taken up with Cybertrucks. So I just want to let these vehicles go by and see if it does anything. It may not. I just want to give it a chance. I don't think it's going to do it because there's just too much. Let's see. Maybe it will. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yep, it's getting back on the feeder. Well, we're going to have to do a UE. And what I'm probably going to have to do, I'm going to wait until we get to a better spot. Oh, okay. There you go, GMC. I don't know what in the hell that guy will all the way to the left to the right. Anyway, so once we get around the feeder, so as you can tell there, that is a driveway into the Tesla delivery center, but currently they've got that part of the driveway taken up with inventory. And you can see there were some Cybertrucks there, all nice and clean, ready to go. So let's let the U-turn take place here, and then I'm going to try to set a pin to get us in there before that turn right there. So let's wait until we get this U-turn done, and that'll give me the opportunity to exit out and set a new pin. All right. So let's navigate. All right. Got to come back over here. Let's try that. Let's just try it. hope that one works. For some reason, no, it's got us going to that same one. So let me end that. I've got to find a way. That is weird. So what I'm going to do, let's see if I put a pin there. All right. Yep. So that one. So it's interesting. If I just navigate it to the Tesla delivery center or to a point in the parking lot of the Tesla delivery center, the navigation shows me taking that same lane in there. And it is a lane. I mean, they've got 2 lanes to go in there. It just happens to be that it is not available right now. They've got vehicles parked in front of it. So I had to do a little bit of engineering there with the pin drop. Let's just see how this works. And we should take a sooner right turn. A sooner. I'm not from Oklahoma. Y'all know what I mean. A right turn that is more soon than the one we took before. I have to put that on my list of things I need to check. Can you say sooner, or are you just supposed to say more soon? I know there's such a thing as a sooner, because that's the Oklahoma. They're the Oklahoma Sooners. But anyway. And going back to before we were turning into Tesla, like I said, I want to go through all of the battery questions that I got. So what I did is I combined all of them into, like I said, for lack of a better term, JC's Battery Day. And if any of y'all have watched my videos, you know what's going to happen. Is there going to be a JC Battery Day? Probably not. There's going to be JC Battery Days. But we're going to get to all of it. And I don't want to skip over stuff, because I think it's really important to take the group that has kind of come along on this journey with me, who are not current Tesla owners and have never owned an EV. And I kind of want to take them through it, because quite frankly, it helps me learn more as well. So when I talk about EV batteries, something I didn't know much about 2 years ago, it helps me learn more about it, because I got to go and research, right? All right, perfect. So we are taking the right turn now. All right. So at least that part of my pin worked out correctly. Now let's see what we do. All right. We need to take a left, though, over towards Tesla, and we got a left blinker on. Excellent. Excellent. Go by the Chewies. Very good Tex-Mex. If you ever in... Got to go. And there's Tesla directly in front of us. But let's see what it does. Is it going to take us into the Tesla parking lot? I hope it does. And doesn't just stop right before it. Because I kind of had to almost avoid the Tesla parking lot. I had to get right on the outskirts. All right. Okay. Oh, it is taking us into the park. And it's going to take us right here behind this beautiful Model S. And it's probably going to end it right here. All right. Yep. Well, at least it got us into the parking lot. It didn't take us to go get parked, but I think the only thing is if I tried to pick a pin inside the Tesla parking lot, it was going to take that second entrance in. And as y'all saw, that second entrance was closed off right now. So, all right. Well, I'm actually going to go find a real parking spot and not just sit here and ponder at the beauty of this old Model S P75. So let me go do that. We'll go take a look at some Teslas around here. And yeah, we'll just have a little time, and then we'll have have a nice time here, and then we'll get back on the road. All right, everybody. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. All right, everybody, back in my Tesla, ready to head home after spending a little bit of time at the Tesla delivery center here in Cypress, Texas. Let's head on home. Push the little blue button. Put the rear camera on. Wait a few seconds. Start backing out. Right. Straighten out. Avoid this other Model 3. Great job. Get around the Cybertrucks here. They're getting ready to go to new owners. We'll talk about those here in a little bit. All right, get up to the feeder. Got some traffic along the feeder right now, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit until we get a gap. Looks like somebody else used that area to park as well. So, all right, we got a gap. We take it. Yep, there's where it originally wanted to take us to. Well, he doesn't have FSD, so I don't FSD. He manually took himself to that. All right, making our way across the feeder. Gonna get on 290, going east. Oh Lord, that truck right there with the couch in it almost hit that curb. Those two trucks were kind of like trying to trade places there, and man, that was kind of a close call. All right, we're gonna start merging here. We're gonna be on 290 for about 3 miles till we get to the Beltway. Trying to get over here a little bit, get to faster traffic. There we go. See, wow, it's just so smooth. It's smoother than humans, the way it matriculates its way across the highway to get to the path of least resistance. All right, we got about 3 miles, like I said. We're riding right along the HOV. We have not tried to get into the HOV lane. We're going about 79 and a 65. The traffic to our left is going faster, but that is the HOV lane. And the Tesla has not tried to get into the HOV lane. That is good. It's honoring that HOV lane. Yeah, it's clearly honoring the HOV lane, because now we're down to 75. And I guarantee you, if that HOV lane weren't there, we would be over there right now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, got about a couple of miles before we get to the Beltway. And look at that, faster traffic going by us in the HOV, and we are not getting over there. It is clearly and objectively 100% honoring the fact that it cannot get into that HOV lane. All right, but now we're going to probably need to start moving over to the right, because we got about 1.25 miles before we need to get on the Beltway, and we've got quite a bit of congestion right here. Lots of cars. About another mile. Wants to get around this Toyota Tundra. All right, we got about 3/4 mile. Puts on the right blinker, makes its way over. Speeding up to get up there. We got a work van with their left blinker on. We're slowing down a bit. We thought they were trying to get over. They weren't. All right, we got about 1/4 mile. Still got to get over. We're going to get behind this landscaping truck. And I believe we're good to go now. I believe we are good to go. We did it. We did it. Now, that wasn't as much traffic to get across as when we were getting over to the Beltway, but it was enough. All right, here we go. We get in behind this Model Y. Oh, Lord. So that BMW just almost ran into the Model Y. And that was totally the BMW's fault. They were in the wrong lane. They just figured it out, and they just said, screw it, I'm going, even though you're already there. Lord. So we almost had a BMW Tesla collision. It would have completely been the BMW's fault, but we know how that goes. The minute you see a Tesla on the side of the road, you're just going to blame everything on it. But thankfully for that Tesla Model Y, had it happened, I would have had my cameras going. So they would have been fine. Well, I don't want to say they'd have been fine. Obviously, from a legal standpoint, they would have been fine. Maybe not so much from a medical and a collision standpoint. All right, we are now on the Beltway. Start moving our way over to the faster lane. Got the left blinker on. We're going to let that car skedaddle by, the Toyota 4Runner. They get by, we get on over. Got our left blinker on. We should be good. And there we go. And let's see what kind of speed we get up to here. Well, somebody just pulled out right in front of us, so the CRV is probably... We're going to be on the Beltway here for about another 11 miles before our next exit. Get a little swallow here. All right, CRV gets over. Let's see how we do here. Starting to pick up some steam again. Oh, Lord. That Highlander really cut it close. Yeah, I mean, people just drive crazy on the Beltway. All right, we're going at a pretty good clip right now. We're going about 78, 79. Got a beautiful Model 3 right there. Same color as mine. So obviously it's beautiful. All right. So I think we are firmly on the Beltway. We'll be here for, again, like I said, about another 9.5 miles. Let me take out my notes here. So, well, first, before we do that, yeah, the Tesla Delivery Center. So it was great. Walked around the campus a bit there. I would say that there was definitely a good bit of inventory that was in the parking lot, but I can also say, and this is why I like to walk the entire campus, that all of it was waiting its turn to get brought into the wash bay. So it was pretty clear it was hopping. That place was hopping. They are hopping right now. So there's about 5 or 6 lanes that lead into the wash bay. And what I mean by wash bay is obviously before they get Teslas ready to be delivered, they, take it through a wash bay to get it washed up. They get it inspected right after, like basically the same lanes, but just a different part of the bay. And so yeah, those were full, and pretty much everything that was out there on the parking lot was getting ready to be staged in the wash bay. One other really good factor I can tell you is every single time that I have been out to the Tesla Delivery Center in Cypress there's always been quite a lot of Cybertrucks on the campus. Now, granted, in this part of the state, they sell really, really well. So I was never concerned about seeing a whole bunch of them on the grounds because I knew that they would work their way through them. But when I say they had a lot of them, they were on the grass. So it wasn't just there were a lot of Cybertrucks there in the parking lot of the delivery center. They completely filled up that grassy knoll, well, not knoll, but that grass field that's to the left of the delivery center. That grass field has been cleared. There are no Cybertrucks on that grass field today. They are all in the parking lot, and they're all so I don't know what that means for Cybertruck numbers in other parts of the country, but I can tell you that the ones out of the Tesla delivery center in Cypress, Texas, which is again the largest delivery center in the state, they were out of that field. Now that doesn't mean that they're all being sold out of Cypress. They could be getting sold out of other parts of the state, because that's the biggest delivery center, and because they have that huge field next to them. I get the feeling that a lot of Cybertrucks were getting staged there for other delivery centers. And so I know that a lot of people were getting concerned, like, wow, there's a lot of them. But I think Tesla was using that delivery center to basically stage Cybertrucks for all the delivery centers around Southeast Texas and maybe even East Texas. So that's all gone. Like, there's a lot in the parking lot. I would say there were about 30 along that edge of the parking lot. The one that was taking up that lane that FSD originally wanted to take us through. And then I would say there were probably 30 to 40 more within the parking lot. So yeah, and this is just the eyeballing. Don't hold me to this math. Well, there's no math to hold me to. You can go out there and walk it yourself. But I would say there was probably a good 70 to 75 Cybertrucks there in the parking lot. But I will tell you, I've been out there before where there were 100 to 120 alone in that field. Like, that field is big. You can put about 150 Cybertrucks in that field. And they damn near got close to it at one point. They're zero today. Like, that field was buried. So they're starting to, I mean, I get the feeling, this is anecdotal, this is one delivery center in one location in Southeast Texas, but it's the biggest one. And I got a feeling that they use that Cypress delivery center as kind of their flex, if you will, for every other delivery center around the state. It's all in the parking lot now. There's nothing in that field. So that's great news. I mean, they're getting through these. So I know that there's a bunch of y'all out there that are waiting for the more affordable ones. So right now, you can get an all-wheel drive dual motor for, I think, $79,000, $80,000. But I think what some folks are maybe waiting on is that $59,000 to $60,000 Cybertruck. I don't think that's going to be the dual motor, though. That's probably going to be the single motor version. So obviously everything I saw was all-wheel drive, dual motor. I don't even think I saw many Cyberbeast out there. In fact, I was looking around and I did not see any Cyberbeast badging around there. Obviously, there's no more Foundation Series badging. I did not see any of that. But you can see both. So there's the Foundation Series badge. Didn't see any of that. And there's the Cyberbeast badging. And just, again, to my naked eye, and I didn't go through there like an inventory counter from KPMG or PwC or Deloitte & Touche doing your year-end inventory. I wasn't doing that. I was just walking around eyeballing. I didn't see any of those. So that tells me that they're kind of all dual motor, all-wheel drive variety, which is your $79,000, $80,000 variety. All right, we're getting over to the right a bit. Looks like in a half mile here, it wants to get off the Beltway and take the Greens Point Drive exit. So my guess is there's so much traffic on the Beltway, it's actually more efficient to get off of it and ride the feeder for a bit. Which doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense, but believe me, with Houston traffic, it can. Let me see if I can see. Yeah, it's back. I can see the backup. All right, we're getting off on the Greens Point exit. Get over to the middle lane. Got a traffic light, but it's not too backed up, so we should be good here. And it looks like we're literally just going to get right back up on the Beltway. Interesting. I did see a big backup there. But, so yeah, that was the Tesla Delivery Center. Yeah, good to go. Like I said, 70 to 80 Cybertrucks. Lots of Model Ys out there too. Model Ys and Model 3s. Didn't see a lot of Model S's or X's. I saw a few X's. The only S's I saw were ones that already belonged to people. Like you could tell that they're already owned and just people out there visiting like me, or people that work at Tesla. I didn't see a lot of inventory S's or X's, but that probably makes sense. I think they're getting to a point with S's and X's. Those things are probably damn near built to order at this point. Because a lot of those folks are probably leaning towards a Cybertruck anyway. If you're going to put down, you know, 79 or 80,000 bucks, go ahead and opt for the Cybertruck. Whereas obviously the Model 3s and Model Ys are still in that, you know, 40 to, you know, 35 to $45,000 category, maybe even up to 50, depending on the version you get. Yeah, we did cut out quite a bit of traffic. Look at it. I mean, we're still going to take a bite of the big you know what sandwich, but we did cut out a bit of it. All right, need to get over to the left though. We do, but we're probably going to need to get over one more lane, which is going to be difficult because it's congested right now. It is congested. We got our blinker on, seeing where we can make our move, but there's no place to make a move at the present, so we're going to continue up until we can find one. The work truck ahead of us, the John Moore AC truck, they're trying to find, we're going to make a move. We just make it. We go. There we go. We had a little gap and we took it. I'm going to give them a wave, say thank you. And then we got our, well, I thought we were going to try to get over to the left lane as well, but we took that blinker off. And there it goes. It's back on. Going to let that car clear through. Let that car clear through, and then we take it. Give them a wave as well. Very good, Tesla FSD. Very good. Both from a navigation standpoint. Now look at this. Traffic is starting to move. So we just took out about a half a mile to a mile of just parking lot traffic. Granted, we had to sit at a traffic light for a minute, but something tells me we definitely shaved some time off there. And when you're only along for the ride, who cares? Right? You're just along for the ride with FSD. As long as you're supervising and monitoring, just set the navigation to save you as much time as it can do. And just, you're along, and be on FSD and you are along for the ride. So it probably, yeah, did it save me maybe 60 seconds? Big whoop. Okay. But when you're along for the ride, what do you care? Save me 60 seconds. No skin off my back. I didn't have to do a thing. You saw me. I was just sitting here jaw-jacking with you. So yeah, had a great time at the delivery center. So that was my visit for the month. So like I say, I like to go there about once a month just to walk the grounds, go to Mecca, if you will. For me, I mean, I don't live, it's obviously, you know, the Gigafactory in Austin and the headquarters. But for me, for us here in Houston, the Cypress delivery center is basically our mecca. That's what, if anything's going to be on display, it's going to be there. And there wasn't nothing new on display. No Cybercab by surprise. Darn it. I really want them to bring the Cybercab to Houston so we can see it. Please, Tesla. If anybody from Tesla is watching, I doubt they are, but if they are, please bring the Cybercab to Houston. That would be awesome. Well, all right then. So now we're going to be on the Beltway for about another 3 miles. And like I said, as we were going to the Tesla delivery center, I do want to get back to start going through some of the YouTube comments. And I have summarized a healthy couple of handfuls of those questions into what I am affectionately terming JC's battery days, because it's going to take me days. And so yeah, let me take a swallow here. Woo, I needed that. All right, we got about 1.5 miles here. So we're going to need to get all the way over to the right to get up on 59 Eastex Freeway going northbound. Let's see what we do here. Let me just keep my head on a swivel here for a second. We have not put on our blinker yet. We got about 1 mile. Yeah, it's just waiting here. It is not in any hurry to get over to the right. We need to do it. We're going to need to do it. I'm not sure what it's just wanting to get around some slower traffic first. All right, we're about 1/2 mile away from needing to be over. So let me keep my head on a swivel here. All right, we make our move. That's great, with about 1/4 mile left. Let's see, we're going to need to get over 2 more lanes. All right, you're going to need to get over 1 more lane with about 200 to 300 feet left. And she does it. Once again, she does it. And with room to spare. Plenty of it. All right. Tesla electric vehicle batteries. Lithium-ion batteries. So just so you know, all of the batteries in Tesla electric vehicles, and to my knowledge, just about all electric vehicles out there, are what are called lithium-ion batteries. And so to distinguish it from like sodium batteries and other battery chemistry architectures out there, but if you think about it, lithium-ion batteries are probably the most prevalent type of batteries that you are used to using. So a lithium-ion battery is the exact same battery that is in your smartphone. So if you have an iPhone or a Samsung or any sort of smartphone, you have got a lithium-ion battery in your iPhone or smartphone. If you have a computer or an Apple Mac, those also have lithium-ion batteries. So pretty much every person on Earth in some form or fashion, even if you don't currently own an electrical vehicle, you use lithium-ion batteries in your daily life. In fact, if you drive an ICE vehicle, there are several things in your car that operate off lithium-ion. So if you have any sort of software running in your vehicle or any sort of high tech, so if your vehicle was basically manufactured from, say, 2010, 2015 onward, you have some form of lithium ion battery in your vehicle. Now, not your starter. I'm pretty sure, I can check me on this, but I believe that the batteries in most ICE vehicles that are like there to like start the engine and whatnot, those are sodium based, not lithium ion based. There may be some out there that are, but I'm highly doubtful of that. I'm pretty sure those are sodium based. Check me on that. But again, that's beside the point on my discussion of EV batteries. So Tesla EVs, they run off of lithium ion batteries. And so lithium ion, where that comes from is when you're manufacturing a battery that you want to run a motor off of, you need to have not only conductive materials, but you need to have conductive materials that have a whole bunch of other good qualities to it. It needs to be energy dense. So it not only needs to be conductive, it needs to be energy dense, I should say. It needs to be somewhat lightweight, right? You don't want, like, there's a lot of energy dense stuff out there, but it's really, really heavy. Or it's energy dense, but you sure as hell may not want it, you don't want to be traveling along at 85 miles per hour in it. I can think of like plutonium or, anything that goes like nuclear energy, right? You don't necessarily want to be dealing with that. So you want it to be energy dense, conductive, fairly lightweight. You want it to be plentiful, right? Because there's probably some rare earth materials out there. And I'm not just talking about cobalt and manganese and stuff like that. I'm talking about very rare stuff that could probably do the job, but it's just really, really, really rare. And so you want all those qualities. You want it scalable, right? You want it you want it to be plentiful, and you want it to be in a place that maybe you're not having to deal with a lot of, ethics, if you will, that go into it. So when you think about those things, really what it comes down to is lithium, iron, phosphate, manganese, aluminum, nickel, so those type of things. Those all have the qualities you're looking for. Now, lithium is always going to be the bedrock. So right now, at least where we're at today in EV battery manufacturing, lithium is going to be the linchpin, the mainstay. So no matter what cocktail you decide to create, lithium is going to be the backbone of it. Because out of all those qualities I just mentioned, lithium is the highest in almost all of them. So it's plentiful, it's energy dense, fairly light, very conductive, has a high voltage, all of those sorts of things. But you're going to need to combine that lithium with some other materials to make it even more dense, or make it even more conductive, or, to make it lighter, to have so all of those things, you got to find that perfect mix, if you will, for where we're at today to make a good battery for an EV or for a smartphone or for a computer, right? Well, for EVs, right now, you're basically in two camps. And I'm really summarizing this quite a bit. So there's going to be some electric battery aficionados out there and chemical engineering majors that are going to probably, but tune them out for a second and just go with me. There's basically two camps right now. There's the lithium combined with cobalt, manganese, aluminum, nickel. So there's that camp. That camp is what's presently in my car. So very energy dense, very light, fairly plentiful. I hate to even say it, but maybe just a little tad bit of ethics that you got to work your way through. That being said, with that, I will tell you, Tesla does a tremendous job of making sure that there's, you know, all the ethics are at the highest level for creating their lithium-ion batteries. And for anybody out there that wants to give me a comment in YouTube about that, well, don't do it on your iPhone. Don't do it on your Samsung phone. Don't do it on your computer. Don't do it anywhere. Don't do it near your toaster, probably, at this point. If you bought, some of y'all with toasters and refrigerators out there have lithium on, so don't do it anywhere in your kitchen. Yeah, so don't do it on your smartphone, near your kitchen, near your washing machine or dryer, or on your computer. So as long as you are sending me your pithy little comment about lithium-ion battery and ethics, do it through a carrier pigeon, then you'll be fine. Then I will listen to you. Do it through a carrier pigeon, or get on your Adidas running shoes and run your comment over to me, then I will listen to you. But if it's coming through YouTube on a smartphone or a computer, stop. Hard stop. Because you have no room to talk. Anywho, but you do have to work through those, because obviously a lot of those materials come from areas that you just have to be hyper vigilant about, what I'll just term certain ethical matters that may. All right, we're at the intersection of North Park and 59. We got a pedestrian to our right. We can turn right on red, but we wanted to wait a bit to make sure that pedestrian wasn't going to go across, and they didn't. So we move on through. So yeah, so you got that camp. You got the, you know, and quite frankly, you know, that's a lot of good stuff going for it, because it is fairly plentiful, you know, even with that. But it is expensive. So it's a little more expensive. So you, like I said, you've got lithium, you got one camp where it's lithium combined with cobalt, manganese, aluminum, nickel. There's probably some other materials that I'm not mentioning, but you know, that's essentially what is in my vehicle today. So my 2024 refresh Model 3 is that very battery. So is pretty much every Tesla built today. But then there's another camp that we will call the LFP camp. So that is also lithium based. So it's lithium iron phosphate. And so why it's called LFP is because of the chemical nature of it. So if you think about the periodic table, lithium, L, iron, if you go back to your high school, if you're like me, I am not an engineer. So the last time I took chemistry and I looked at the periodic table, or I shouldn't say I've looked at the periodic table since then, but the last time I got tested on the periodic table was back in high school. If you remember from that, iron is Fe, so F. So when you hear LFP and they say lithium iron phosphate, and you're like, well, where's the iron in that? Just remember that on the periodic table, the symbol for iron is Fe. So the F in LFP is iron. So L, lithium, F, iron, P, phosphate. And so that's another way. That's another type of lithium ion battery. So they're both lithium ion, but they're different types of lithium. So whenever you hear lithium ion, that encompasses all of it. Pretty much all lithium-based batteries are lithium ion. But in today's jargon, a lot of times you'll hear people differentiate. It's really not a differentiation from a chemical engineering standpoint, but you will hear people say lithium ion versus LFP. Well, LFP really is a lithium ion battery, but because most lithium ion batteries today are cobalt, manganese, aluminum, and nickel, they'll differentiate like that. So what's special about LFP? So let's give the bad part, not the bad parts, but just the downgrades versus the other group is with LFP batteries, they're a little bit heavier. Those materials are a bit heavier. So when you're heavier, you're not going to be as energy dense. So typically an LFP based EV battery just does not have the same amount of range that those lithium ion batteries with cobalt, manganese, aluminum, and nickel are going to have. So like my Model 3 long range all-wheel drive, which I get upwards of 370 to 380 miles out of it in a full charge if I wanted to, you're just not going to get that today with an LFP battery. So like if you think about the Model 3 rear wheel drive that they used to manufacture, they're not manufacturing it right now, interestingly, because of the and we'll get into some of that later, but there's some interesting things about LFP as it relates to our battery manufacturing stateside versus China, IRA, all that sort of stuff. Has nothing to do with chemical engineering and has more to do with, you know, IRA credits. So that's economics, not chemical engineering. But anyway, yeah, so the Model 3 rear wheel drive that they used to have, that was an LFP battery. And so you would not be able to get 370, 380 miles out of a full charge on it. You are probably lucky to get 250 to 275. But we'll go into that a little later too, as we get into my battery days. So we're just starting here. We're going in, we're in early days. We're going primer here. So that was the LFP. So the downside was it didn't have near as much range. So let's just say you got roughly 100 miles less range in this Model 3 long range with my type of battery versus the LFP battery in the old Model 3 rear wheel drive. You get 100 miles, so it's, you know, heavier material, less dense, you can't go as far. So that is one of the big, you know, people just psychologically want more range in their battery. But however, with the LFPs, and we'll go into this in more details when we're about to get home. I'm going to have to put a pin in all this, but I'm going to go through all the pros and cons of each of the different types of lithium ion batteries. So again, I've got the lithium ion battery that's got the cobalt, manganese, aluminum, and nickel, that kind of cocktail combination. But there's also another direction we can go, which is LFP, which is lithium iron phosphate. And we're going to go into the pros and cons of both. And I promise you, we're going to get through all of this. And you're going to be a lot smarter on EV batteries and how you charge them, the costing, the chemical nature, how they're made, all of that. We are having a JC battery days. All right, we pulled up to my house, but it's going to take us days. I'm going to give her a wave. She gave me a wave. Let's see how we do at my driveway. Is it going to try to park me today? Let's see what it does. Or is it just going to try to parallel park me? Yep, it's just going to try to parallel park me. That is fine. We're just not there yet. So yeah, I had a great drive today. No interventions whatsoever. We did have to reroute one time because we chose a lane at the Tesla delivery center that the Tesla folks had lined up a bunch of Cybertrucks along that side, so they took up that lane. But it rerouted, went around, and then once it rerouted and took us back around the loop, I did need to drop a pin in order to make it avoid taking that lane again, because that is a lane to go into the parking lot. It's just taken up right now temporarily. So anyway, no interventions of any sort, critical or non-critical. Great drives. Got to see some Tesla Cybertrucks and a bunch of other Teslas there. Got to walk the grounds. And then along the way, we have started back on my YouTube comments and questions. And I have decided that we are going to take on Tesla electric vehicle batteries head on. We are going to tackle it. We're going to learn together, and I'm going to take you through it, A to B to C, all the way to Z. And it may take a little while, but I want to do this because, quite frankly, it is the most important part of the vehicle. When we're talking about just the mechanical architecture of the building, obviously, to me, one of the most important things is the FSD software. Obviously, that's why I have this channel. FSD is so important to me. But I also will tell you, our future is electric. It just is. And this autonomy is going to be combined with electronics, with electrification, with electronic vehicles. So the most important part of that mechanical structure is the electric battery pack. It is. It just is. In an ICE vehicle, the most important part is that combination of the engine and the transmission working together, right? Well, here it's the electric battery pack. So the motor, there is a motor. In fact, mine has two, but my two motors are secondary. Granted, you need them to go vroom vroom and keep going, or not vroom vroom, but and to go. But far and away, the most important part is the electric battery pack. And so we need to tackle that. Like if you are really wanting to get knees deep into ICE vehicles, you need to know how the engine works. You need to know how the transmission works, how that all works in tandem. Well, if you're going to try to get knees deep into an EV, you need to know how the battery pack works. So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to first tackle the chemical structure of EV batteries, and we've already started that. We've gone down, we're talking about lithium ion, the different chemical natures of lithium ion batteries, the two basic substructures, if you will, of them. That's where we're at now. So the next time I'm with you, we're going to start, we're going to kind of put LFP to the side. I'm going to tell you why we got to put them to the side, but we are going to put them to the side. And then we're going to talk about the battery that's in my vehicle and every other Tesla today. We're going to take a deep dive on lithium ion batteries, the kind that's in mine. We're going to talk about their chemical structure, what happens, how it makes the vehicle go vroom vroom or zzz, how it gets charged up. Then we're going to talk about the charging curve. Then we're going to talk about the cost, how the costs have just come significantly down, and where we're at today and where we're going to go in the future. And I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm actually going to learn, you know, I learned this a long time ago, both as a Marine and as an audit partner at a Big Four accounting firm at KPMG, is the best way you learn something is by teaching it. So in order for me to do this via my FSD videos, I've actually got to go out there on Grok in the X platform and really kind of relearn some of this, as well as learn for the first time some of it. And quite frankly, I've been getting on Spaces on X and listening to some really, really smart people talk about EV batteries. And I just find it fascinating. For me, the two most fascinating things for me right now, I'll say three. The three most fascinating things for me right now are FSD, AI, autonomy, software. So that's one. So far and away for me, that's the one that's most fascinating. I will say, secondly, is probably robotics and autonomy. So there's vehicle autonomy, and then there's robotics autonomy. Although one could argue, and I probably would, those are one and the same, because my vehicle is basically an autonomous robot, and it is. If you talk to Robert Scoble, he would tell you, I have been in a robot for the last couple of hours. And I have been. But when I think of robotics, I think of humanoid form robotics and the type of things that a humanoid robot would do. Obviously, my vehicle's never going to be a humanoid well, I shouldn't say never. Who knows? You saw Transformers. You saw what could happen. But anyway, yeah, that's I would say humanoid robotics. And then the third thing would be EV batteries. It really does. That may not come across as very sexy to some folks, but to me, it's just fascinating. And I'll tell you why. As we go along, I will tell you why I think it's so fascinating. I'll let one cat out of the bag, is that, just 15 years ago, EV batteries cost $1,500 a kilowatt hour to manufacture. $1,500. So think about that for a second. My battery pack is 75 kilowatt hours. And it cost 15 years ago, it would have cost $1,500 a kilowatt hour to manufacture my battery pack. Think about that. That's just immense. That's why they're just so damn expensive. It was almost a non-starter at that point, right? So we're talking about 2008. Think about EVs back in 2008. They either got you 35 miles because that's all they could afford to build is a little bitty lawnmower battery pack. So you had these Nissan Leafs that basically, could maybe get me from here to the Whataburger on North Park Drive, and that's it, and back. And I would need to charge again. Or you had these extremely expensive Tesla Roadsters, right? Well, that's part of the reason why they were so expensive. Well, we come all the way to the day where they're literally $100 a kilowatt hour. So that's immense. You went from $1,500 in 2008 down to $100 today. So my same battery pack today, I'm stealing a little bit of my thunder, but I just want to explain to you why I find it so fascinating, is they've gone from $1,500 a kilowatt hour to $100. So my battery pack today is now $7,500 versus, go do the math. It's above $100,000, right? Back in that, it's probably about right around $100,000. Which, go look at the pricing of most of the Roadsters, and they did not have. I'm pretty sure they did not have 75 kilowatt hour battery packs, and that's probably one of the reasons why. So that's just fascinating to me that it could come down 95% in pricing in 15 years. That's crazy good. And most analysts think we're going to get battery pricing down to around $30 to $50 a kilowatt hour. Well, think about that for a second. If my battery pack new is about $7,500, maybe a little bit north of that, but what does a brand new engine from Mercedes cost you? That's going to be about $10,000, $7,500 to $10,000. Now I know a bunch of y'all are out there. Well, I can get my motor for $2,000 to $3,000. Well, yeah, you're not talking about a brand new motor, a brand new engine, I should say, from BMW or Mercedes. You're talking about a refurbished, Chevy or Ford, like something you could, get from somebody that that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. You're sure as hell not talking about a brand new engine for an Audi 3 for a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes E-Class. No. So that's why I bring that up, because it's parity now, and it's about to not be parity. And I'm going to let you guess who's going to be on the bad end of it not being parity. It won't be Audi and Mercedes. They're going to be on the bad end of that. So anyway, sorry to go so deep into that, but that's a third thing that just fascinates me. And obviously I forgot there's 4, space travel. So everything that SpaceX is doing, that's the one I probably know the least amount but it really, really fascinates me. And so I want to learn more about that as well. But what we're tackling right now is we're going to tackle EV batteries. We've talked about vehicle autonomy quite a bit. We've talked about cybercabs. We've talked about FSD quite a bit. So we've kind of tackled that first one a bit. And as things progress, obviously, we'll talk about that more. But right now, one of the things we haven't talked about as much is EV batteries. And it's so important. And so we're going to talk about that. So I started that today. We have started day one of battery days with JC's battery days. We're not having a battery day. We're having battery days. And that's not because you can't fit the information into one day. It's because of my mouth and that I'm such a jawjacker and I just go off on tangents. But I beg you, just stick with me. Stick with the tangents. Sometimes there's gold nuggets in those tangents. I won't lie. Sometimes there's just crap in those tangents, but you just kind of got to let those tangents happen to get to the nuggets. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. I hope y'all are having a great weekend. I hope your football teams win. My team will not because they're the Dallas Cowboys and they're sitting at home on the couch with me. But I hope y'all have a great weekend. I love every single one of you. And I will talk to y'all again soon. Bye.